Hey guys, it's Brownbag talking sports here again to talk about the divisional round. I'm going to first talk about the Chargers at New England game. So that being said, let's get into it. The Chargers, this is a very disappointing game by the Chargers. The final score was 41-28. I just want to focus on the Chargers side. Phillip Rivers was 25 for 51 passing attempts. So, yeah, that's all right off the bat. That's not a good stat. He had 331 passing yards, three passing touchdowns, and one interception. Rushing, Melvin Gordon didn't do anything. Had about 15 yards for 9 carries, averaged 1.7. Their leading receiver averaged 18.8 for 5 receptions, had about 94 yards. Their leading receiver was Tyrell Williams. This was just really disappointing. After that 16-point comeback in Pittsburgh, after that 14-point comeback in the fourth quarter in Kansas City, I thought this team had some fight. I thought this team knew how to come back, but they just laid down, man. They just didn't do anything. This was just a terrible game to watch. This was just terrible. Yeah. Their defense, I mean, to be fair, they were going up against Tom Brady, but I mean, it was just terrible. They were letting them, or at least early on in the game, the running game was just really killing them. Sony Michel had 24 carries and 129 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. Burkhead had a rushing touchdown. Sony Michel, though, had like 129 yards. He averaged like 5.4. That was just terrible. That was just terrible performance by that rushing defense. I mean, lied down. The Chargers just lied down. They didn't fight. They didn't do anything, man. It was already 35-7 in the first half. I mean, it was just terrible. I'm not mad that they lost. I'm not disappointed that they lost. I was going for them, but I'm disappointed in the way how they lost. They didn't show any fight. The defense just let Sony Michel run wherever he wanted to. I mean, the secondary was just abysmal. Tom Brady was 34 for 44 passing attempts. He had 343 yards, and he only had 1 passing touchdown, but that's probably because they just ran it in whenever they were in the red zone. So it really doesn't matter because they ran it in when it was in the red zone because nobody was stopping them. I mean, the receiving, Julian Edelman had 151 yards for 9 receptions. He averaged 16.8 every reception. Like, that's a lot of yards. That's a first down every time he touches the ball. That's just terrible. That's just terrible by their defense, man. They had no pressure on Brady. There's some times where there was a bit of pressure on him, but it wasn't consistent enough to actually shake Brady a bit. It didn't bother Brady at all. He just sat in the pocket and tore that secondary up. I mean, again, I'm not mad that the Chargers lost. They just lost in such an embarrassing fashion. They just didn't show up, and that's what got to me. That's what got to me. But yeah, congratulations to the Patriots for reaching another AFC championship. I really underestimated that defense in Foxborough, but I just figured the Chargers I just figured the Chargers would have more of an impact on the field, at least their offensive side. Like, or I already figured that their defense wasn't going to make too many too many plays in the first beginning, but I expected the Chargers offense to do something, man. I mean, they tried to make a little comeback. I mean, the final score was 41-28, but when you're down 35-7 against that Brady and Belichick offense, that's a death sentence, man. Especially in Foxborough. I mean, you can't let them get up on you like that. You got to keep it close. They're not called the greatest of all time for nothing. I mean, the greats never let you get back in the game. You got to do better than that, man. You can't let them get up on you like that in the first place. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what to say for the Chargers, man. Let me just move on to the Saturday game. Colts won, not Colts. Kansas City won 31-13, and this game was yet another disappointing AFC playoff game. The only AFC playoff game that was actually worth something was that Ravens Chargers game, Chargers at Baltimore game. That was actually, it started off really boring, but the Ravens actually tried to make a little comeback, but we all know how that turned out. But yeah, these AFC games have been pretty trash. The Colts versus Texans. I just went over the Chargers versus the Patriots, and this is no exception. This was just a blowout, man. Like I said with the Chargers, I thought the Colts would have a bit more fight in them. I thought they'd have a bit more fight in them, but they just really couldn't do anything offensively. And the funny thing about it was that it was like 7-24 for the longest. They got off to a pretty good lead, 24-7, but you kick a field goal and that's like you're down by 2 scores. So you still technically have a chance, and they had a chance to kick a field goal before the end of the half, but Vinatieri couldn't make it, man. It was very disappointing by this Colts team. I expected a lot more from them. Yeah, they just looked very dysfunctional out there. They didn't look like the team that blew out the Texans. They didn't look like the team that came back from a 1-5 start. I mean, they just look like crap out there, man. Kansas City's defense, I have to give it to them. They played really well against this Colts offensive line. They had 3 sacks. 2 of them was by Justin Houston, and 1 was by D. Ford. That's literally his name, D. Ford, D-E-E. But this Kansas City defensive line is serious, man, especially at home, and I have to take the L on this, man. I really underrated their defense. They just haven't been playing that well this entire season, but to be fair, they cleaned up their act when they most needed to. They didn't really let any big runs go off. Marlon Mack had 46 yards for 9 carries. Andrew Luck was 19 for 36 passing attempts. So you know that they got a lot of pressure on him even when they didn't sack him. This Kansas City Chiefs defense, at least at home, is pretty solid, man. They played really solid football. That was literally my only gripe with the Kansas City team as a whole, their defense. Their defense just hasn't been playing good this season. But again, they played really well this game. They performed well at home, and that first seed, I guess, was very important because I don't think that they would have played this well on the road, at least their defense. We all know that offense travels, but that defense, that defense, that defense likes to stay at home. But yeah, they performed. They showed up, and that's going to be really it's going to be a really interesting game seeing them against New England. But yeah, for now, good job, Kansas City defense. But as for their offense, it wasn't the best, but it was serviceable. Patrick Mahomes was 27 for 41 passing attempts. He had 278 passing yards, no passing touchdowns, no interceptions, but he did have a rushing touchdown, so it was that. Their leading receiver was Kelsey. He had 7 receptions for 108 yards. He averaged 15.4 yards. Damian Williams had 25 carries and had 129 rushing yards. I'm more impressed with their rushing game than their passing game this game. Not to say that their passing game wasn't clutch when it needed to be, because there were some big first down conversions that they got to take away that clock and keep the ball out of Andrew Luck's hands. But yeah, I'm just really impressed by this running performance, especially with Kareem Hunt gone. They've really adjusted and they've really done well. There were some times where I feel like that there was some questionable calls by their offense. Instead of going for a field goal and making it 27-7, making it a 20-point game, they instead went for 4th down. And I don't get that. Like, for the longest time, it was 24-7. I don't think anybody scored in that third quarter. The defense was really playing well, but for whatever reason, Kansas City's offensive coordinators, the people who were calling the plays, they just didn't want to close out this game. If the Colts get a touchdown, they're only down by 10. Now, if they get another touchdown, they're down by 3. And if they get another touchdown, they're ahead. Again, credit to the defense because, I mean, the Colts didn't really score anything until the 4th quarter, but Kansas City didn't close it out, man. They didn't close it out well enough for me, at least on that offensive side. They can't do that when they face New England in the AFC Championship, because if they get a good lead on Brady and them, they have to close it out. They have to get up. They have to take points wherever they can, man. I get being aggressive, but if you can take an easy 3 points to make it a 20-point game, just take it. Overall, great game by Kansas City defense. Pretty great rushing game by their offense. And the passing game wasn't too bad. I mean, Patrick Mahomes nearly had 300 yards in his first playoff game. But yeah, I said before that these AFC playoff games have been very disappointing, but if the week 4 matchup between the Patriots and the Chiefs are anything to go by, this game, this AFC championship should be one of the best AFC championships ever. I mean, should be a really good game. I just hope for a good game. I'll get into that when I do the AFC championship preview, but I'm just really excited for it because these AFC games have been really boring, but this game should make a change. This game should make a change. But so that's it. I'll see you next time for my recaps of the NFC divisional round. So yeah, until next time, Brownbag signing out. This AFC Championship is going to be amazing. Hey guys, um, I just wanted to mention this before I ended the video. I actually had this in my notes, but I didn't see it until I ended the recording. I actually forgot about it until I started editing this, so yeah, but I just wanted to say that I just want to say congratulations to the Chiefs because this is your first playoff win. This is your first this is your first home playoff win since 1994. So I just want to congratulate you for that. 25 years of misery, no home playoff wins. Um, but it's over, man. It's over. Celebrate, guys. Celebrate. And I also want to congratulate you guys on hosting your first AFC championship ever. This is your first time you're hosting it. And good job. You guys worked hard for this. You guys got a great team, and Andy Reid can be questionable in the playoffs, but he's a great offensive guy. And I just wanted to congratulate you guys for that. It would be wrong to just breeze over that and not even mention that. But yeah, I'm gonna go now and get this video up. So until next time, this is for real this time. Until next time, Brownbag signing out. Congrats, guys. Congrats.